Hey guys! I'll give everyone a second to hop on. Someone let me know when you're here. Okay, I think it's working. So, hey everyone, I am so excited to be doing the training tonight. My name is Michelle Zarenda and I am a Regional Vice President and Direct to Jill Lyons. And tonight I'm going to be training on overcoming the naysayers. Now, this has been something that I've been dying to train on and has been on my heart for a really long time. And so I'm super excited to share with you. And real quick, anybody who has ever encountered a naysayer, please raise your little emoji hand. Because I know we all have. And I don't see anything yet, but that's okay. I'll keep going. And for those of you who may be new to the business and may not have encountered a naysayer yet, that is okay, but I'm glad we're training you and giving you the heads up on what may happen. And so, what are naysayers? Maybe you just started yesterday and you have no idea what that word even is. And so, naysayers are also known as the dream stealers, the haters, the negative Nancys. These are the people who are negative, unsupportive, and sometimes they can be judgmental, jerks, and downright mean. So, at some point in your life, maybe not in Arbonne, you have dealt with a naysayer. We all have. But you need to remember that no matter what you do in life, someone is going to have an opinion about it. But it's what you do with that opinion is what matters. So you can either let that opinion affect you or you don't, either way. So just keep that in mind. Now, there are different types of people that are naysayers in your business or in life. And these are the people that sometimes you barely know or you never met before. Maybe they follow you on Instagram and come up with their own opinions or ideas about you. Maybe these are the people that you never met but you've reached out to about the business. These could be acquaintances like coworkers, classmates. They could be neighbors, people that you interact with but you're not necessarily close with, that they're not in your inner circle. And then there's the people that are closest to you, that are your family and your close friends. And so what do these naysayers do sometimes? Well, I came up with a list based on mostly my own experiences because I think I've dealt with everything in the book, but also just being in the business for a year and hearing about other people's struggles and their naysayers and their obstacles, I sort of wrote those down as well. So one thing people could do is talk badly about you. And I'm sure all of us at one point who have been in the business for a while have had someone say something negative or heard it, from someone, from a friend or, coworker, whoever. And maybe they talk badly about you to your face or behind your back, but somebody probably has said a negative remark or comment about you doing Arbonne. That happens. Now, people can also ignore you. So we all have had ignores. If you are doing your reach outs, if you are inviting people to events, if you are talking about Arbonne in general, people can straight up ignore you, even when you're in person with them. So don't be afraid of people ignoring you. And also remember that ignores are not always no's. Sometimes I have gone back and people reach out to me about the business, or the second or third time I talk to them about it, and I'm like, wow, you ignored me all these other times that I invited you and I sent you a flyer or I asked you if you're interested in tuning in, and I don't even remember. And you want to know why I don't remember? It's because I'm in so much activity that I don't have time for that. But obviously I try to write it down so I can remember who to go back to. But if I don't write it down, I forget that you ignored me. But some of us get so caught up on those that ignore us, and then we let it affect us. Now, there's other people who are straight up mean to us sometimes. Now, we've all had people say Arbonne is a pyramid scheme, and sometimes, it hurts our feelings, but really, guys, you shouldn't let it. I've had people come at me on Instagram, Facebook Messenger, through text, in person, but half the time someone says something or Arbonne's a pyramid scheme, I say block, goodbye, I don't have time for you. And that's what you need to do. I've also had some hurtful pyramid scheme conversations. I was home in New Jersey with some of my high school friends, and we were with a group of like 10 or 15 people. We were playing a card game, and one of the questions was, and everyone anonymously puts in, reasons why people get fired from their jobs. And somebody had put in from being part of a pyramid scheme, and I know it was directed at me because I was reading them. And in that moment, I felt this big. I wanted to crawl in a hole. I wanted to leave. I wanted to cry. I also was a little furious. I wanted to yell, but instead I didn't let it affect me in that moment, because that would be letting that person win. So instead, I just kept reading them, I played it off, and I might have cried about it later to Jill or Jacqueline, but that's okay. So also, you have to remember, people can be mean and say things straight to your face. Maybe they say, this will never work. Why are you doing this? I can't believe you're doing one of these things. And I don't like Arbonne products. Actually, I was at a vendor event with a girl on my team, Adrian, and we were in Charlotte, and she was going around, and one of the chiropractors had said to her, you know, Arbonne is terrible. Their products are like going off on a tangent. And she just laughed about it and came back and told me, didn't let her get her down, and she's new to the business. And I was so proud of her for that. But it's just funny how people sometimes will attack you for it and they don't even really know about it. I also had a friend and a friendship lost, and I only tell you this not to scare you, but those friendships too, I realize those are friendships I probably don't want in my inner circle. And so last year I had sold something to one of my friends. We met out maybe a few weeks later, and she might have had one too many to drink, and she was not nice to me. I had just ordered food. I probably took one bite of my food, and I said, check please. And I said, you know, I won't say her name. I love you. I'm leaving. Bye. And I just removed myself from the situation. And that's sometimes what you have to do. Now, you also sometimes have the unsupportive people that may not be mean to you or mean to your face or talk negatively, but they just don't support you. And so maybe they never attend an event, or maybe they never buy products from you, or maybe they'll never host for you. And maybe they never just ask you how Arbonne is going. And a lot of us, Arbonne is a big part of our lives. And maybe it's not, but still you want the people closest to you to ask you how Arbonne is going. And sometimes they don't. I have aunts, one aunt who hosts for me, buys from me, promotes me, and I have another aunt who never will even talk about it with me and ignores me. So, you know, it's just two different types of people. Now, the next one is the hardest one, and that's your inner circle of friends and family. So more times than not, I have had college-age girls sign up, and they're super excited. They are ready to go ahead and jump in the business. I get them all signed up and in, I train them. They go home to mom and dad, and the next day they call me up and say, I'm sorry, Michelle, this isn't for me. I'm not gonna do it. Thanks anyway. And so sometimes our biggest naysayers can be within our own friends and family. There's actually an EMVP who spoke at GTC, and I couldn't remember her name of the life of me, but her naysayer, she spoke about her story, was her mom, and now her mom was her first nation on her team direct to her, which was amazing. So I thought that was really cool. So sometimes these people do come around. Now I'll give you my own experience, and my biggest naysayer was my boyfriend, Ben. And I'm not telling you guys that to be like, Ben's a jerk, why is Michelle talking about this? But I'm telling you this because I pray that it can help somebody else in this situation. And so in the first 6 months of my business, Ben was anti-Arbonne. He was very mean to me about it. I'm gonna cry because I'm talking about it, but he made me cry about it. He would put me down about it. You know, he would ignore me. He said the meanest things. And I know that's not truly who he is, but it hurt me. Obviously, I'm still upset about it. And so me telling you this, guys, you know, it was something that I had to overcome. But I could have let that define me, but instead I let it, and I used it to fuel my fire to hit my goals. I made it so I worked so hard to prove him wrong, and now he jokes and says I did that on purpose to make you work harder, but really at the time it wasn't fun. And so, you know, I just want to share that with you because a lot of us will say, I couldn't hit this goal, or I couldn't, you know, do Arbonne without so-and-so, or I wouldn't be here in my life if it wasn't for my significant other, or I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom. Yes, those people help you. They can help you and support you along the way. But you are 100% fully capable of hitting these goals and promoting and being whoever you want to be in this business, because you are the CEO of your own business and nobody else can stop that but you. So just remember that. And so yes, having that support is amazing. I craved that support when I wasn't getting it. I used to have to do virtuals in my car. I used to lie when I was doing events somewhere else and say I had a work event. I used to have to sit and do them at my neighbor's house and go right next door because I was too scared to do them in my own house. And so that was, yes, that's sad, but guess what? I'm telling it now because it's something that I overcame, and it's something that I still was able to do. At the end of the day, after teaching, coaching, in a PhD program, whatever I was doing, all I wanted to do was be home, and I couldn't do that to work my business. So just so you know, whatever obstacle you have right now, and maybe that's your naysayer, that you can get over that. And so something that it's taught me, guys, though, is to love that person where they're at. And actually tonight, Ben was gonna pop in here and talk with you guys, but he had another commitment he had to go do, because I wanted you to hear firsthand from him, and I talked to him why he was the way he was and why he was so anti-Arbonne, but he did want me to share some things with you guys tonight. So one thing I didn't do is I didn't love him where he was at. And so I didn't, at the time, in the beginning of my business, actually sit and really talk to him about it. I mentioned it to him, he was kind of negative, and then I didn't want to talk about it ever again. And so instead, I also shut him out. You can't shut out the people closest to you. It's just going to keep causing controversy, and then they're not going to like Arbonne even more. So that's something that I learned. And then also, he didn't understand network marketing. A lot of times, guys, you're so excited about this, so you throw network marketing or you throw Arbonne on somebody, and maybe they're not able to receive it yet, and maybe they have to ease into it a little bit. So that's something else that you need to remember about other people. And so later down the line, it's a year later, and Ben is a lot more supportive now. And I just wanted to share that with you because sometimes it does happen, but don't let it define you when you have a naysayer. Now, also I wanted to go into the people within your own organization who sometimes are naysayers. Now, guys, this could be with anything. If anyone's ever been a part of a team or worked another job, you've had naysayers within your own organization. So just remember that. And that happens to be sometimes in Arbonne. I loved Arbonne and joining Arbonne because Arbonne is a positive community and culture. But I also learned, going to Vegas and there's 20,000 people there, especially women, that sometimes people clash and things aren't always going to be positive. And so I also learned, your uplines, your downlines, your sidelines, whoever, sometimes aren't always nice to you even though you think they should be. So that's just something you have to get over. But also I wanted to share that to make sure to take a look in the mirror and make sure you're not being a naysayer and making sure you're not being that person to the other Arbonne men and women in our business, because no one likes to feel that way. And now, the last but not least, the biggest naysayer there is yourself. And sometimes your biggest naysayer is you, because we can take ourselves out of the game, but it's our responsibility to keep ourselves in the game. All the examples I just used right now, sometimes we let that affect us and then we take ourselves out. We also have negative self-talk. You need to stop that right now, and you need to replace that with positive self-talk all the time. We also, a lot of times, worry about what people think. Those of you who are just starting your own business and kind of hesitant to post or hesitant to talk about Arbonne, it's because you're nervous what other people think. Stop that. Don't care what others think, that you're already removing yourself from it. And then also, at the end of the day, when you let other people's actions affect yourself, you are ultimately letting the naysayer win. So don't let them win. Now, thinking about all these reasons, why do haters hate? Why do we have naysayers, and why do they hate on us sometimes? Why are people not nice? Oftentimes I think that too, and especially being a teacher in school and seeing how mean kids can be to each other. But I have a lot of reasons why, and after researching this, number one, and I have 10 reasons listed, they try to bring you down to justify their own failures. Sometimes if they see you fail, it's going to help them feel better about themselves. They also are unsuccessful people because they may have failed at something once and give up, where successful people, and hopefully all of you guys tuning in, are not going to let one failure hold you down, and you're going to overcome that. Number two, they have a limited mindset. And so they think that your success takes away something from them, and it doesn't. Everybody in Arbonne, at least in our business, their success, we could all be up at the top. That's why I love Arbonne. But in anything in life, sometimes people think they're overshadowed by somebody else's success. I kind of look at this and always relate it to coaching. Whenever my athletes or my parents of my athletes, they weren't in the spotlight or another child was in the spotlight, they turn on me so fast. And I'm like, guys, you have the same amount of at-bats in softball as the next girl does, or whatever. But it's crazy what sometimes success for other people can do to yourself and your insides. And usually it's because you are insecure. Now, another one, number three, is they are not happy with themselves. Negativity and hate begins with you and and how you feel about yourself. So oftentimes they're unhappy and they want you to be unhappy with them. We often talk about cancers on a team or in a classroom, and when one person is negative in any organization, they try to bring others into that cancer and it spreads quickly. Number 4, scared of change. They are scared of changes and trying something new. They are okay with staying average. They are not willing to take chances or get out of their comfort zone, so they don't understand how you might be. And they are also afraid that they'll lose. So those are reasons why people are afraid of change. Number 5, filled with envy. Envy is jealousy. The quote, "Those who can't envy those who can." So for example, when we watch our great Arbonne leaders, guys, successful Arbonne consultants will be motivated and inspired by those leaders. Unsuccessful Arbonne consultants will be envious, insecure, and they will ultimately stop working their business. Number 6, haters will try and justify your success. So for those of you who are just starting out, they may say things and they might try to justify, and say, so-and-so started her business because of this. They may say, she will never do well. But as you start to become successful, people will also start to say, it's all luck, not hard work. They may say you don't deserve it, or they may try to justify reasons why you became successful. Number 7, they don't know you well. So a lot of times people that don't know us well are the ones that judge us. But also it could be people that know us well, but they may not know our why and our deep reasons and our beliefs and why we're doing this business. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know your story. They don't know where you want to go. They don't know your future goals. And so they will try to pick out the negative things about you and make up their own reasons and things about you in their own minds. Number 8, they secretly want to be you. So they hate us because they ain't us. If you ever heard that quote, it sums it up. Number 9, they don't invest on improving themselves. So there is zero self-development on their end. In Arbonne, we teach self-development and to do 20 minutes of that daily if you can. They also don't have long-term goals. They may not want to do better themselves, and they may not want to better their situation. Number 10, they're pessimists and not optimists. So pessimists, guys, will be negative, depressed, visibly not happy, not successful ultimately. But optimists, if you ever heard of learned optimism, is deliberate. Sometimes we have to teach ourselves to do that over and over again, but it's intentionally doing it every single day. It's also bettering our quality of life. So optimistic people are happier and ultimately they become more successful, especially in Arbonne. Now, here's some advice to overcoming the naysayers. Now, one of my best friends, Ryan Borowski, he's a life coach. He also works for Liberty Mutual. I post about him often. He does a podcast, Rise with Ryan, on Spotify. I highly recommend it. But I was talking to him within the past week about this training, and he gave me some pointers, and today I was talking to him. But his number 1 point was that you need to improve your mental toughness to overcome the naysayers. So he says that you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. And that's something that I've been talking about throughout this training. And you also need to stop trying to please everyone. Oftentimes, when we say yes to someone else's wants, needs, or happiness, we are saying no to our own. Now, that's something that is just difficult because I know as you guys as moms and, me as a people pleaser, that's just who I am. I want everyone around me to be happy. Sometimes that is hard to do, but you need to develop that skill and you need to become an expert with it. The day you stop caring about what others think, your entire life is going to change. And that is true. And Ryan's helped work with me for the past year and he's amazing. And so you also want to be secure with yourself. You don't want to worry what others think. And here's a quote. I love it. You don't pay the price of what other people's opinions are charging for your life. Okay? So you don't want to pay the price because what other people are thinking about you and that you're letting that happen. And you don't want to not be successful in this business because you could do crazy things with it. You also want to commit to your goals, your relationships, and your why. Your why is important. When your why is big enough, your naysayers don't matter. Okay? Remember that. When your why is big enough, you're not going to care about your naysayers. So maybe some of us have to be in touch with why we're doing this business and get back to the beginning. As hard as you try, you can't change everyone's mindset. Guys, you might do all the steps and you might really try, to really help them, but ultimately it's up to them. They're their own person. And lastly, he says, if you quit, you let them win. So you want to make sure that you keep going. Don't give in to your naysayers, okay? Do it for you. And lastly, I'm going to leave you with this quote, and I don't know who said it, but I thought it was a good one to end with. 1 week they hate you, 1 week they love you. Either way, make sure you're getting paid both weeks. So thanks guys for tuning in tonight. I hope that helps, and I hope you all have a great night.